I did a fireside chat last night for a large group of people. And we do this every year at this immersion camp. And normally I think like this is going to be about jiu-jitsu. And I always put down questions about jiu-jitsu, about leadership or business, really wide open forum. And last night I had kind of my team with me, my square group that you guys are all familiar with. But every single question was about business. And it really just shows the quality of people that are coming to camp, that are either doing a side hustle or taking a risk on themselves. And there's all sorts of amazing people here. I can't talk about the special group we have here, but 6 of the players in this group have already been drafted, and I mean, there's former executives from Dell Computers that have gone and started their own business, and there's the guy who owns the Baltimore Ravens, and there's someone who owns a construction company who was inspired by the origin story and left his job and has built this behemoth contracting company. There's billionaires, there's all walks of life. A lot of entrepreneurs though that come to this camp. And jiu-jitsu is very entrepreneurial. And I got a question last night, if I could kind of break jiu-jitsu up and the process of being an entrepreneur, how it would work out. And I thought it was a great question because there's so many parallels. There's so many ways to leverage the learnings of jiu-jitsu in business. And I can't remember who the question came from. I think it was somebody starting their entrepreneurial journey. And I had a bunch of veterans in the audience last night who were coming up on retirement and or who have recently retired, and they don't know what they want to do next. And they're training jiu-jitsu because it's their passion, but it's not their purpose. And I think it's awesome for people who can make jiu-jitsu their purpose. I mean, jiu-jitsu is kind of my purpose. It's at least it started that way, and it led me to what my true purpose is. But in kind of laying it out for these folks who are everyone from the military vets who are going to be retiring, who are recently retired, to new entrepreneurs, folks who have a side hustle. Another gentleman, after last year hearing this fireside chat, he started a nut company where he's doing candied pecans and different flavor of pecans. And so you have these people who are trying to do something in life for them, and it's really, really inspiring. I mean, and there's 500 people here, all with a great story. So this camp has become, it's not just about jiu-jitsu, it's about life. And I did a speech the first night about, changing the angle at which you look at jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu isn't life, but life can be injected with jiu-jitsu. And that's the 180 perspective that I like to take on it. But unpacking the relatability of being a white belt, a purple belt, and a black belt, and a stage 1, a stage 2, and a stage 3 company, and really the power of purpose. And what I told them last night was how the pulling power of purpose is a stronger force than the pushing power of ideas. Because one gentleman was just, I just don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And it really comes down to don't do anything unless you have a spark of purpose behind it. and I explained to them how everything great in life takes 10 years. Anything great takes a decade. You have 4 decades of opportunity between 20 and 60 to try something. Even if it doesn't work, you can do something else, right? Like there's a lot of time in life to figure it out. And I was coaching him on making sure that he doesn't just buy into ideas, but there's purpose behind it. And I'm going to say again that the pulling power of purpose is a stronger force than the pushing power of ideas. What do I mean by that? Purpose is gravity. It is going to suck you in. Even in the darkest times, it's going to suck you in and continue pulling you, right? Because you are doing something that is insatiable. It's like you were born to do it. You need to do this. You have to do this. It's in your DNA. And I believe everybody in life has a purpose. And I believe some folks in life are misguided and haven't found that. And or they're too scared. They feel it, but they're too scared because they don't have a support system to lean into the thing they want to do, the risk that they want to take. They don't know how to. And the answer is you just got to take the first step. And it's just like jiu-jitsu. You just got to take the first step. You just got to put that white belt on. The pushing power of ideas, and man, it takes a lot of force. Oh, I have an idea. Let me push this forward. And I'm not saying that if you have an idea, you shouldn't try to push it along. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is if you're going to risk it all on something, like the gentleman last night who quit his job after listening to a podcast with Jocko and I, the first podcast, 93 on Jocko Podcast. He listened to that podcast, he quit his job, he went and remortgaged his house, he pulled out $200,000, and he started this contracting company. And they're a massive 9-figure company, which is unbelievable that he's been able to achieve that in basically 8 or 9 years. To do something like that, you truly have to feel the purpose. I'd rather be sucked along by purpose, and I'm not saying that this purpose isn't going to fatigue you, mentally fatigue you, physically fatigue you, but ideas, just ideas, is dangerous. And it's the two that make the magic. It's the two of them that are the perfect storm. Strong ideas and a stronger purpose. The pulling power of purpose is a stronger force than the pushing power of ideas. I also explained to these folks, when you start something, and they're all jiu-jitsu people, right? A lot of white belts too. When you start something in jiu-jitsu, you start as a white belt and you're reckless. And in business, unless you're, a graduate from, an Ivy League school, or you went to some big business school, and even if you did, it doesn't matter, because they're teaching you the fundamentals of business. They're not giving you the life experience of dealing with things in business, and so it's all conceptual. Conceptually, you might run into this. Conceptually, this is how you build a business, but going out and doing it and talking about it are two different things. I can tell you right now, they're not even close. So it ends up being reckless because nobody who starts something has ever done that thing. Like jiu-jitsu, it ends up being reckless. And I compared the white belt to this reckless ambition, but you have purpose to be on the mats, and you have purpose and ideas you want to execute. By the time you get the purple belt in, let's say, 5 years, you've become more tactical. And on the mats, as a purple belt, you become more tactical. You can see the moves, you know what moves to make. Your timing may be off. You might be behind rolling with a black belt they might be a little faster, a little more flexible, a little stronger, but they also know the technique way better than you do a black belt. And so your timing might be off as a purple belt, but generally all the positions in business as a purple belt. You generally know what you need to do, and you might have some tools in your toolbox. You might have some assets. And then at black belt, stage 3 business, you kind of figured out what tools to keep in your toolbox and what to dump out. And you can always refer back to those things, but it's about scale at this point. As a black belt, you're going to scale the degrees on your belt over years. First degree is 3 years, second degree is 3 years, third degree is 3 years, fourth degree is 5 years. I'm actually getting my 4th degree, I think it's next year. And in business, it's the same thing. And I'm not saying you're not going to get injured, right? Like in jiu-jitsu, you're going to get injuries. I don't care if you're a white, blue, purple, brown, black belt, coral belt. There's going to be injuries in jiu-jitsu, in life, and in business. You're going to get injured. And so I kind of unpacked this for the audience, and this fireside chat went from, and I was going to record it, and I brought the Osmo down that I record these with. What I'm looking at here, I brought it down, but I didn't want to impede on the moment with these folks, because they were just so damn engaged with the conversation, and I needed to keep them there. And it's my job this week to create that engagement and to pull people into my purpose and Origin's purpose, and I think that's really important. And I kind of capped the evening off. Must have been around midnight, and the folks wanted to hear stories. And I'm gonna cap this off with a story about starting Origin. After I lost everything in 2008, 2009 recession, I didn't know what my purpose was. I had an idea. My idea was I want to work in jiu-jitsu, in the industry, and I had a lot of ideas to manufacture jiu-jitsu gis. I had done all these sorts of sketches about how the garments could be made better, how the patterns could work better to fit to the curves of your body. I had ideas on textiles. I often wondered why a jiu-jitsu gi was 100% cotton, because cotton absorbs sweat and gets heavy. You don't see any cotton in any performance garment in the world. Like, you're going to wear a tight-fitting shirt, or you're going to wear shorts to do a triathlon. It's going to be a synthetic fiber. It's going to have performance properties. And I was like, why are they using cotton in jiu-jitsu? It's like using a leather helmet in football, right? American football. It makes no sense. The sport hadn't advanced, and so I saw an opportunity to advance things. So I had ideas, and my purpose at the time was don't lose my home, because I had lost everything else and sold off anything else. And I decided to launch Origin because jiu-jitsu was my passion. So my passion, jiu-jitsu, my purpose, stop losing, don't lose my home, support my family, and my idea, I'm going to do this through jiu-jitsu and through trying to reinvent the jiu-jitsu kimono, the uniform. I looked for a little bit of manufacturing in the US. I didn't look very hard. and I did what everybody else did. I went to Pakistan. I imported my first gi. I pre-sold it. I raised $40,000 capital. I sent the money overseas, and luckily they sent me back jiu-jitsu gis. I did this for about a year. And at the same time, I was participating in the thing I was passionate about, which is jiu-jitsu, competing all over the world. I won a big tournament called the World Pro Trials in the brown black belt division. I was a brown belt. And like I told the group last night, it's a pretty big deal to win this World Pro. It's kind of like the Olympics of Jiu-Jitsu, where they then send you to Abu Dhabi with all the winners of the other countries, and you compete against each other for like a grand prize. What am I at for time here? I can't even see. They compete against each other for a grand prize. Before a big match, I had a big match with the 7-time world champion. I saw a participant walking towards me from a different country, and they were wearing this Origin gi I had designed, and I was elated. I was like, I got such a rush of dopamine seeing this, and adrenaline. And it was just before my match was going to start, and I was just pumped. And I watched them, and I was stretching out on the mats in the bullpen, and as they walked by, there was a different logo on the back, not the Origin logo. And in that moment, I felt gutted. I mean, absolutely gutted. I was just like, holy shit. My manufacturer, Ali, in Pakistan, is ripping me off. I just wanted to get home. And I got on the plane a couple days later, and I knew I wasn't in control of my own destiny. And I had this idea for this jiu-jitsu gi. I had ideas to reinvent it. I had ideas to change the industry. And at the time, my purpose was like, don't lose my home. And on that plane ride home, everything changed. If life is a story, and there's two things that are going to help set you on a course. One is an inciting incident, and the other one we call a MacGuffin. And in storytelling, there's all these different beats. But something has to set you on a journey, and you're chasing something. There's a purpose behind it. Well, the inciting incident was getting ripped off and not being in control of my own destiny. And the MacGuffin was trying to find the machines, the skill, and the knowledge to do it myself. And for Origin, there's been many micro MacGuffins. Having to build a factory. Can we do it? Finding the machines. Can we do it? Can we find the machines? Finding the people with the knowledge to bring in and teach us. Finding the old loom. Seeing if there's an old denim plant left in America that will help us launch denim. Trying to seek and find how to make footwear again. The whole journey for Origin and my personal journey is I'm on the hunt for something. It feels very, for me, in the moment, it feels very Indiana Jones. Like I'm always searching and hunting for things to try and rebuild American manufacturing in footwear and apparel. And it's an impossible mission, and I don't know what success looks like, but I'm chasing it. And I'll never stop the chase. And from the outside looking in, that's attractive because everyone likes a good story. But there truly was an inciting incident, getting ripped off, getting on Zoom with this manufacturer, Ali, and saying, I was in my basement of my house. It's me and one other person. And I just called him out face to face through this Zoom call. Are you ripping me off? And he said, yeah, I'm taking what you're designing and I'm selling it to other companies. And business is business. You can't do anything about it. Roger that. It's all I needed. My purpose became now building jiu-jitsu gis in America. I knew what I had to do: cut down trees in the woods behind my house with friends and family, build this little timber frame factory, and try to make jiu-jitsu gis. That became my purpose. But what I discovered inside this new venture, this new naive idea, was a much deeper purpose. Business is like inception. Something can start with an idea and you can go a level deep, and you might discover something when you go down that brings you deeper into it. And what I discovered very, very quickly, again, the inception of Origin to building a factory was maybe a little over a year. So all of this happened in a compressed timeline. Losing everything in 2008, 2009, taking a beat to focus on training jiu-jitsu, competing in jiu-jitsu, and trying to survive at home. Launching Origin, the inciting incident of being ripped off, and building a factory, and then finding a deeper purpose and meaning. Truly bringing back manufacturing to my hometown. Because I felt like the rest of the community felt like I was in control of my own destiny. When our middle class was strong, when we had manufacturing, everyone in this community had purpose, and we had lost it. So my purpose became their purpose, except now I was gonna hopefully lead them to the promised land. And so it didn't all happen overnight. Everything didn't just come together in one spark of genius in a dream. I let life happen. Again, I applied jiu-jitsu to life. Life isn't jiu-jitsu. I applied jiu-jitsu to life. I looked for the angles. I changed my levels. I looked for the escapes. I tried to stay balanced, and timing is everything. And that allowed me to take the risk. The pulling power of purpose is a stronger force than the pushing power of ideas. When you can combine your passion with your ideas and you have purpose, and if you look at your life as a story, where are you going? What do you want to be doing? Is there gravity in your life? If not, why? Are you ignoring it? Did you abandon it? Did you try and fail? A lot of people use the word failure. I don't like it, but let's use it. Did you try and fail and you're not sure how to get it back? Reflect on that. Think about that. And just know, like, everyone's in the same boat. Everyone at this camp is in the same boat. Trying to find upward trajectory in life. Trying to find maybe meaning and purpose through jiu-jitsu. And it's really, really powerful to see. So I am finally back at this coffee shop. And it took me 27 minutes to get all these words out and to get here. And I can't freaking wait to get a cappuccino into my system. Peace.